I read 8 books in November. And normally, when I talk to you about the books that I read, I talk about them in the order that I read them. However, I finished 2 series, or got caught up with 2 series. Actually, one's finished, one I got caught up on. So we're gonna talk about both of those books, like both series, as a group when I get to them. So, starting off with the first series, I read the last 2 books in the Turner series by Kate Sebastian. So I read The Ruin of a Rake and A Little Light Mischief. So, The Ruin of a Rake is book 3 in the Turner series. The other 2 in this book series are, The Soldier Sound Girl and The Lawrence Brother. This is probably, because there's this one and then there's another one that I also, so there's these 4. And then, what series was this? Does it say? They do not say, but I also read these. I also have these ones from her backlog also as well that are also a series. And I definitely preferred the Turner series over the other series, which is what I was getting to. The Ruin of a Rake is my favorite of the Turner series. It is so delightful. These are all can be read as standalones, although there are like some characters that overlap, and this will be sort of the conclusion when you see all the characters from the other books show up at the end, in like an epilogue kind of thing. So our main characters are Courtney and Julian. And Julian has been obsessed with Courtney basically since he met him. Thought he hated the man, but he turns out he doesn't. And wrote an entire novel in which he took some of Courtney's traits and like threw them into a book and then published it anonymously. But like everyone knows about Courtney. So his sister's like, hey, I need you to like help Courtney's reputation. Please. This was delicious and delightful, and I loved it so much. It was everything I wanted. It was so good. I think it was a 5. It's probably of the backlog books that I have read by Kate Sebastian, this is probably my favorite. Because I started reading her stuff with Creating Pencils and Quick Web. I have a couple titles that have come out since then that I haven't gotten to yet, but I will get to next year. I have all of them. They're just sitting in a pile. But yeah, this was delightful. This was delicious. It was so good. A Little Light Mischief was cute. This is a novella. It's like 100. It's 107 pages, including the epilogue. And I didn't feel like I got some of these characters well enough to really love this. But I enjoyed myself. It was a good time. It's only the one I think that I gave the lowest of the series, but yeah, it was cute. I liked it. Next up, I got caught up on the Locked Tomb series by Tasmin Mir. So I read Harrow and then I read Nona the Ninth. I really loved Harrow. Let's just go that way. Let's be forget. Let's get. It's not that I didn't like Nona, because I love Nona as a character. I just feel like this was a lot, somehow, even though I think less happens in this book, because it's a lot of like, they're going places, and then like, it's a lot of the lictors like doing, like talking to each other and like doing like kind of smaller things while they're going somewhere else. So it feels like less happens in this book, but I feel like this one was a book felt slower. Also, I decided that if I ever reread these books, I'm gonna need to make a character chart of who's who, because every character goes by like 3 different names. So I got a little confused to who was who at some points. Not always, but sometimes. Especially then reading Nona, because I was like, being like, okay, this is clearly somebody and I don't remember who. So I was having to use the wiki a little bit to be like, wait, what's happening? But yeah, I really enjoyed these. If you've not read Gideon, definitely start. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed doing this back to back, but also I feel like that was a lot for my poor tiny little brain to follow sometimes. But I really liked both of these. I think I gave this a 5 and then this a 4.5. Because again, I really liked Noah as a character. I just wasn't really invested in what was like happening in this book as I was with Harrow. But I loved both of these. These were really good. Electa went. But you know, it's fine. She has long COVID. I totally understand. Whenever we get Electa, will be delightful. Then the next book that I read after that was Disguise Everywhere by Janet Nelson. I didn't realize this recently got turned into a movie on Apple Plus, so I'll have to watch that at some point. I enjoyed this. I think I would have liked this more if I had read it shortly after I read I'll Give You the Sun, because I read that like late high school, maybe like shortly after I graduated, and that was like a decade ago now. Yeah. But I will say, I really liked, so this is about a girl whose sister dies. It's sort of about like her dealing with grief and then falling in love after that. But she writes poems, and I'm trying to see, so you'll occasionally just get like her poems like on like different textures and stuff, and I loved the sort of mixed media in this book. That was maybe my favorite parts, but yeah, this was really good. I think would have been a better read for me personally. Like I gave it a 4. I really liked it. I feel like I would have loved it though if I had read it closer to being a teenager. Then I read, sorry, these are in the wrong order. Better than. So after finishing like the Black Gym series, I decided that I needed to switch sort of every other between like contemporary and fantasy. So that's kind of what's happening here. So after that, I read The Absinthe Underground. This was cute. I don't think, so this was a copy that I actually won from the author when it came out last year. I'm only now getting around to it, but I don't think that I knew it was YA at the time. Also, Disguise Everywhere is also YA, which is why I brought up being a teenager. I liked this. It was cute. My thing is that I have a weirdly high expectation of what I want from a heist book, because I grew up on Ally Carter. So the heist didn't quite do it for me. I liked our main characters. they really did. They were adorable, and I loved their relationship. And I love the magic in this world. I love that. Like I really enjoyed like some of the things that are in here. But this was definitely like I think I gave this like I don't think I gave a red rating at all. I think I gave like a pretty decent like 4, maybe 3.75, somewhere in there. But yeah, it didn't quite. It's definitely on the, even though it is a heist and there is like stakes, it is definitely, I would say, a little more cozier read than I personally wanted. But yeah, I think if you like stories about fae, if you like a good heist, because I do think the heist is well written. It just, I again have a little bit more of a like, this is what I want in a heist. I think that if you want to read more sapphic books, this is a good option. I think, yeah. And I think if you, again, are fine with YA, this is just a well worth your time. I don't think there's going to be a standalone companion novel to this that I don't think I'm going to pick up, but we'll see. The cover's gorgeous. It's like a purple jewel tone, like similar to that color. It's just so good. Then I read in sapphic The Romance Recipe by Ruby Bartlett. This was cute. So it is about this woman who owns a restaurant and like her head chef. The restaurant's kind of failing, and they have an opportunity because the head chef's ex-fiance, he's a TV producer, so they're trying to get on like his new show. And the show is kind of like, the show is not really that involved in the story at times, because like, again, it's like, oh, you know, like the producer, like the scouts are coming in a couple days, so we have to like prep for that. And then like, oh, you know, she has to figure out what she's gonna cook for the show once they're on the show. But like, cause it's not like a competition show, because she's already done a competition show, because of her fiance, or that's how she met her fiance. Yeah, that's how she met her fiance. But I feel like I either wanted the cooking show to either be more part of the plot in terms of like things that were actually happening, or non-existent. It's kind of how I'm thinking about it. I loved their dynamic. I love the like later in life realizing you might be bisexual, like representation in this book, and sort of then realizing like, oh, this is my first time being with a woman, and like all of that complications. I thought that was really well done. But yeah, it just, you know, it was cute, it was fun. I enjoyed it for the most part. I loved that they just make poutine all the time. It's great. Yeah, it was delightful. And then I read Legends of Lattes by Travis Brendel. I have determined that this kind of cozy fantasy doesn't do it for me. Okay, because I could not find myself invested in these characters enough to care about the mundane things that they were doing. And, yeah, so, I will not be continuing. I know there's 2 of the books in the series. I'm not continuing this. This is actually, now that I'm done filming this video, it's going actually into my unhaul pile, that hopefully will be smaller, next week, because I'm going to take some of them to one of my local bookstores that buys, used books. So this will be in that pile for sure, because I know they will more than likely pick this they will buy this off of me for sure. I'm taking things that I think they'll definitely buy off of me, so that I don't have to take some of the books with me to my mom's, because I'm going to my mom to decorate her Christmas tree with my siblings next week. So, but yeah, I really wish that I liked this more. I kind of knew pretty early on, because I had started this book at one point, I think, and then put it down. This probably wasn't a book for me. Originally, I was thinking that I was probably just gonna give it like a 3, and then like the more it kept sort of dragging on, I was like, actually no, this is probably like a 2.75, which is, I think was what I gave it. I couldn't care about the characters. I didn't like. There were things that I really, you know, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the sort of the way that we were explaining how certain things came to be. Like coffee is, you know, what regions it's from, and like all of that kind of stuff was kind of fascinating and interesting as like world building. But like I just couldn't care about like what was happening to the characters' actual lives, which was kind of a shame. I know this is a beloved book. I know it's a beloved book, and you know I love that you who may be watching this that love this book because I really do. It just wasn't for me, and that's fine. Again, those are the 8 books that I read in November. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.